This has been extremely more difficult than I expected it to be, but I think I came up with something that is entertaining. I encourage you to correct me if I am wrong on something. I encourage you to challenge me. I encourage you to heckle me. I encourage all of this, and I encourage us all to laugh and have a good time. Anyways, let's get started. There are a lot of Mega Man games. At the panel I did last year, I listed out all the Legend of Zelda games. I am not doing that again this year. That took up half the panel. And it was interesting to some, but not to most. So, if we go here, these are the 6 original games. We got Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4, 5, and 6. Then it goes on. Inafune is the creator of the original Mega Man. He was with 5 other people. What was great about Mega Man at the time is that Capcom took 6 people, including Inafune, and said, make a game. These people were dedicated to making a side platform game that was going to revolutionize how games were being made for the NES. Their motto while they were making the game was, we're going to make this game perfect and nothing less. And there are many examples I'm going to be talking about in a little bit as to how close they actually really got to making a perfect side-scrolling game with the limitations of the NES at the time. It was amazing. When you think about what they had to perceive and do, that companies right now are spending hundreds of millions, almost billions of dollars to do for us today. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and then I'll try to blow your minds in a minute. Okay, so the first thing that you guys are going to realize about why Mega Man was so revolutionary is if you played the NES when it first came out, you played Super Mario Brothers, or Legend of Zelda, or other games, Kung Fu, another one, Excitebike, whatever you want to call it. There was a pattern. There was level 1, level 2, level 3. And they got increasingly harder as the game went on. But to get to level 3, you had to be level 1 and level 2. And Inafune kind of turned that off and said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let you choose what board you want to start on. We're going to let you choose the next board you want to play. You don't have to go in a preconceived order. We're going to just say, all right, fine, this one's too hard. I'll tackle that one later. I'm gonna go try this one. It changed and revolutionized the playability of these games. Because if you had someone who bought Super Mario Bros. 2 and they were having trouble with some of the earlier levels, they would just give up and say, all right, it's done. I'm done. I'm not gonna do this. Well, no, they said, all right, try this guy. See what you think of this. Try this boss. Beat him, and he can make another boss easier. Beat him, and you can try this boss, and he'll be easier. Or while you're doing that board, there will be something that makes this board even better. So, it was a really, really nice change to see that. The original stage select, that shouldn't be in here, but we're gonna. Physics, the arts of making a game harder by changing the environment or limitations. What are you doing here?
Oh, I just thought that there was somebody trying to imitate us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had a helmet. It was a beautiful helmet. It was a gorgeous helmet, and I can't find it. These guys kind of put my helmet to shame. So I asked them to come by. We have Mega Man and Mega Man X. Can we get a round of applause for this? This is nice. I saw him at the con last year, and when I saw him, I said, hey, buddy, you are going to come and talk to me next year. You're going to come over here, and you're going to wear it. And then I saw this guy, and I'm like, hey, come on up. Pretty cool. Anyways, physics, the art of making a game harder by changing the environment or limitations. What did they do as the games went on? They changed the physics of the game, like in a water level. Instead of you having a limitation on what you were going to jump, you could jump too high and hit the spikes. Or there's in Mega Man 6, I believe it is, where the water actually comes down from the spring so you can jump up into the water, which means you have to time your jump to get over these cliffs. So what they were doing with these Mega Man games is they were saying, all right, well, we know he can jump a certain time, we know he can jump to the right, we know he can jump to the left, he can shoot, but now what we're going to do is we're going to give you a board where those variables change. And we're going to make sure that you jump higher, jump lower. We're going to make it so you can't jump. We're going to make it so, you have to slide under small things, and you change the physics and the board to make the game harder, instead of just giving you an extra jumping pattern that you have to learn or memorize. So it's pretty good. They're action figures. They're action. My wife. Can someone, when you see me at the con later, remind me I need to get milk? Please. I'm not going home without milk. Thank you. Thanks. Wife. Next thing is challenging, but a different kind of challenging. There are games that are challenging because you encounter an obstacle. And when you encounter that obstacle, it's unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you're trying to figure it out, and figuring it out is more of the obstacle than overcoming the obstacle. Mega Man doesn't do that. What Mega Man does is they say, okay, we're going to give you a controlled environment to see what they do, and to see how you have to overcome it. And then they make you try it. So like you'll see a guy who's about to throw a hammer at you, but you're not in the line of the hammer, so you know when you get up to him that the hammer's coming. So if that hammer hits you, it's your fault. It's not his fault. You knew it was coming. So what they did is they made it challenging because you had to figure out how to come across that, and you knew what was coming. That's what the great thing about Mega Man is. They would create themes in the games where they would say, okay, here's a water level, there's spikes on top, you have to jump over this fish, or you have a platform, and as you start walking on the platform, 5 blocks in, the blocks start falling behind you. So you don't just fall and be like, oh, I just wasted a life. No, you keep going because there's nothing stopping you from going. They make sure of those things. And then when the blocks start falling, you can see it coming. So when the new obstacle comes, where something's falling down at you, you know that if you jump backwards that you've got less time, or if you try to go forward, you're gonna get hit by this thing. They made it challenging, but they made it challenging where you're not frustrated. So it caused people to play the game a lot longer. Okay, so I'm gonna do something because we don't have a sound mic. But the next thing I'm gonna talk about, because you have to talk about with Mega Man, is the music. The music is amazing. The music is what is encapsulated in my childhood. If anyone's ever played this when they were a kid, there was, has anyone been to Video Games Live? Great show, loved it, absolutely loved it. I went when they were in Syracuse, and the guy who runs Video Games Live said this. He said, anyone who creates a video game is creating the music of someone's childhood. And I thought that was so poignant. When I thought about it, I was like, wow. So if you create a video game, you create the music for that video game, and someone loves that video game, they're gonna just continue to play it. That's the music of their childhood. I still get chills listening to some of this music. And now I know why. Because I go back to when I'm 8 years old, and I'm sitting in my room with more zits than I have now, but I still have them. And I'm playing the games, but I'm listening to that music. And when watching videos on YouTube or listening to music in the car and something like that comes on, even if it's just reminiscent of the music, I think about it. So just to give you an idea, X, please come over. You're a robot, you can do this. I'd like you to hold this mic near the speaker, which I believe you're different places. Oh, it's right here. So just hold it back a little bit. I picked two different styles of music. What I did was I went for the rock and roll type music that they're really known for, but I also wanted to show you the melodic music that they had in a couple games. So here's more of like the hard rock and roll. Okay, hold on. That's not loud. That's not gonna work. Hold on. All right, hold on. Someone stole my cord. All right, hold on. I got this. We're going real low grade now. All right, so that was the Storm Eagle theme, one of my favorite songs that ever came out of it, very hard rock. The guys that were making the music for the Mega Man games used up a ton of cartridge space just by making sure that they had room to just push the music to the highest limitations that they could, because they understood that, yeah, a great game has these great boards and it's challenging and you got the side scrolling and you got the physics, but without a good theme or without a good music, you don't really feel it. And that's what they did. Now, they were not just good at like the hard rock. Ooh. I'm gonna move here. Maybe that'll stop that. Okay. But they also did some melodic things where they would, you just gotta listen. Proto Man's theme from Mega Man 3, where you were introduced to Proto Man. You're trying to figure out who he is and how does he fit into the timeline, and why does Mega Man, it doesn't really feel like he's harming Mega Man when he's doing those side quests, but what is really going on there? And they give you like this haunting, melodic, but very melancholy theme about who this Proto Man is, and they did a great job with that. With certain characters just saying, okay, this is, thank you. Does that help? Yay! I am not technically proficient in any way, shape, or form. This is in Windows Media Player. So yeah, but that's what they would do. They would give you these hard rock themes so you'd know that it was a challenging stage, and then they would pull it back and give you like a humanistic quality to a robot, which is pretty damn cool. Darn cool, sorry kids. Sorry. Trying to be as good as possible. So we'll get past this because they're not going to work. Upgrading like a boss. You're not the only one that had upgrades, mister. This guy has some upgrades. Granted, they were overpowered upgrades. Upgrading is a part of Mega Man, and it made the game kind of cool because the first time you play a Mega Man and you defeat a boss, and then they go to the cutscene and they say, oh, by the way, you're going to get this new weapon. What? I'm inheriting a new weapon? You didn't expect it, but it's the boss you defeated. Which also made it so when you saw a boss like Electman, before you even play Electman, you're like, what kind of weapon am I gonna get? Oh, this is cool. Am I gonna electrocute people? This would be awesome. And that's what they would do. So you have those upgrades, but it wasn't just upgrades to the weapon, it was upgrades later on in the Super Nintendo series where they say, okay, we're gonna teach you how to dash, we're gonna make your Buster even more powerful, we're gonna give you a helmet that will smash through walls, you know? Yeah, they'll give you a Hadouken, you know? Hadouken! By the way, Mega Man X is my favorite game of all time. I'm just gonna get that out there for the Mega Man series. Few people can really argue that, but, you know. Anyways, so you're upgrading to make the guy more powerful. So you're playing these worlds and they might be too hard, and then all of a sudden you have extra life. You have an energy tank so you can replenish your life. You have an X-Buster that will actually get you through stages of the world without being you're invincible. You have in the original Mega Man game this one weapon that will allow you to basically go over all of the obstacles and just keep jumping. Overpowered. You should be ashamed of yourself. Yeah, he also had Rush. You know, he had a dog that would let him jump and be a rocket, and then he would fuse with him and just punch through walls and fly. Who doesn't want to fly? I want to fly. I'd love that. I don't think I want an X-Buster though, because I know that there's going to be that one time I'm playing online and I'm going to rage quit and it's going to go through my wall. And there's just going to be a hole where my TV was. And I have to explain that to my wife and why I didn't get the milk. So those are the reasons why I wanted to talk about, you know, Mega Man. One last thing I'm going to mention. I was talking about the physics earlier, and I forgot to mention, if you play the original Super Mario Brothers and you jump to the right, okay, so everyone has an iPhone or a Galaxy or a Samsung or something along that. I'm not getting into that argument. But they spend hundreds of millions of dollars in making it so the new phone that comes out will be responsive to how we think in our brains. So when you want to swipe right, it swipes right. If you want to swipe left, it swipes left. And they actually will take the time to make sure that the phone is the perfect size, is, you know, exactly where you need it so you can hear it perfectly. And they do all those things. 6 people from Capcom changed the physics of how games were by knowing how we were pressing the buttons on the controller and saying, oh, you're jumping to the right, but you jumped too far. Let's press the left button, and you go back left. If you jumped to Super Mario Brothers and you went too far, it came back a little bit. You know, a little bit. You know, you go back too far in Excite, but you're rolling. You know? With Mega Man, oh, I went too far. Oh, you can go left, you can go right, while you're in the air. The physics don't work in this real world. They don't. You defy physics. I will say that. But it's fantastic because it makes a better playing experience for the person. Because you're controlling this person in a fantastic way. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now comes the most controversial part of my presentation. It'll get controversial later on, but for right now it's going to be pretty mild. The top 4 villains from the Mega Man series. So of course this is going to be scrutinized, objectified. So number 4, Vile. Vile's a mid-level character. A couple reasons why I hate him with a fiery passion. Number 1, he treats you like you're his little brother in every aspect of the imagination. You're going to the end of the demo stage of Mega Man X. He's in this big toy, and he's just looking at you saying, hey, look what I got. I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. There's nothing you can do about it, because I'm your older brother, and I'm stronger right now. What does he do? He just keeps beating you and just knocking your life down, and you are not doing anything to him. Okay? So as he just like freezes you and says, ha ha, I'm just gonna make you wait until, I wanna, end you. Your older brother comes in and says, no, that's not happening. That's Zero. Zero's the older brother. He's the one that's in college. Okay, so he comes back and he, kind of rights the wrongs of the one brother. I have 2 brothers. I'm the college brother. So yes, I'm saying I'm Zero. And he knocks his arm off and says, hey, knock it off. And he gives the youngest brother, Mega Man, hope and says, hey, someday you'll be as strong as me. So, he's giving him the encouragement. But all the while, Vile's just, the one that's, in your room, going through your stuff, taking whatever he wants and says, I'll give it back whenever. You want to go play basketball, he's got your ball. Can't join the pickup game he's in. He doesn't want you to. That's Vile. So nothing is more rewarding when Vile at the section of the game has his toy destroyed and you just have that moment where you're like, I've had enough. I'm done. I want nothing. You're going down. And it's the most rewarding, it's the quickest boss battle in the game because they made it so you could just destroy him. But he's just a mid-level boss, so he's the most rewarding kill I've had in any Mega Man game, but he's not the worst boss. And so he's number 4. Now number 3. Sigma. Now, there's going to be a lot of argument. I'm going to take a drink because my mouth's a little dry. Thank you. Sigma's the number 3, and a lot of people would argue, well, obviously Dr. Wily's on the list. He's worse than Dr. Wily because he's a robot. Dr. Wily's human. Dr. Wily can die. Sigma can theoretically go on forever. He just will transfer his knowledge to the next robot. But isn't that what Wily did? What's that?
Says you're too loud.
Sorry, I got a loud voice. Anyways, that's what Wily did with Sigma. Wily created a virus and put it into Zero, okay? And when Zero, well, what's that? All right. Okay, I'm just gonna keep trucking along. So anyways, Wily creates Zero, which is his greatest invention right before he dies. And he puts him into a time capsule. And when he awakes, he's supposed to be a villain and have like this rampage going on. Okay? And he does. And Sigma's good. I don't know if anyone knew that, but Sigma is a good character. He's actually hunting Zero. He's part of the Mavericks that are supposed to take someone like Zero down. And, Zero destroys almost all of the old robots and puts Sigma almost to his death. But while Zero's going around, Zero is spreading a virus created by Dr. Wily to turn all of the Mavericks evil. So, Sigma, who can live on forever, lives on forever and is keep motivated by the original grudge of Dr. Wily. So Dr. Wily is the one who basically made it so Sigma can keep going on. So that's why Wily will probably be higher up on the list. So who's number 2? Dr. Wily. Who's number 1? We'll get to that. Dr. Wily, who is obsessed with some sort of world domination. I don't even think he knows what kind of world domination he wants. He just knows that he wants the robots to follow him. And he does it in a couple different ways. He psychologically brainwashes them because they can think for themselves. He reprograms some of them, to do his bidding. And after his death, he actually, if you played Mega Man X2, there's a Dr. Wily character as a robot. And he even, when he dies, mentions that he's Dr. Wily. So Dr. Wily found a way to live past his death, and he's continuing the grudge. So as we go from the Mega Man to the Mega Man X series, to the Mega Man Battle Network series, and all the other series, he is still there in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in the form of a virus, or, it's in the form of him taking the form of a robot. So he just keeps this grudge going on, and he just is maniacal about it and obsessive about it. But why isn't he the number 1 villain? Does anyone have a guess who the number 1 villain is? Any guess? I know you know. You don't get to talk. Santa Claus. Dr. Light, the original creator of Mega Man. Stew on that for a minute. He's the number 1 villain in Mega Man. I'll take you there. I just want to see if you get there first. I know he's your father. I'm going to talk bad about your father. It has nothing to do with you two. It's not your fault. Go to your corner. You're making me scared. You have busters. Dr. Light is the number 1 villain. Not because he has bad intentions, but he doesn't understand that his good intentions are not enough. If you've ever, there are a couple books out there, and I'm going to get a little deep on you to get you there, so hold on. I'm going to bring up a book that I read when I was a teenager. It was by Michael Crichton. It was called Sphere. There was a horrible movie, so don't base this off the movie. Just follow me on the book. In the book, they discover a sphere underneath the ocean, and if you climb inside the sphere, you are able to manifest anything with your mind. So if you climb into the sphere and afterwards you're like, I would like a vanilla ice cream sundae, you will have a vanilla ice cream sundae. If you want a squid to attack your enemy, a squid's going to attack your enemy. The note of theory of this is that at the end of the book, they decide to forget about the sphere, and when they do, they lose the power because they never knew they had the sphere. Why did they do that? Because they were smart enough to understand that we as a human race, we're not ready for that type of technology or that type of power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Dr. Light creates Mavericks and robots to help humankind. Okay? And I would like to think he originally put Isaac Asimov's robotic theory into these robots and says, they cannot harm humans, they can't harm themselves, they're going to protect themselves or try to protect a human as long as, everything's good. But not only does Dr. Light continue with this technology, but he can see the villain staring at him from across the face with every robot that he makes. He knows Dr. Wily exists. He knows that Dr. Wily is going to turn them, and he's going, well, I can still stop Dr. Wily. When no one else in the world can create this technology, and no one can stop this technology except for Dr. Light. So Dr. Light was naive in thinking, it's great for me to make these robots that no one can stop, when there's someone on the other end who's going to reprogram them or psychologically say, hey, you need to come with me. Okay? So why he's the number one villain is because he's reckless. He is very, very reckless with the technology that he is incorporating into these people. And even 100 years later, one thing that you need to keep in mind is that 100 years after he was dead, he was created right at the end of when his end was and stayed in a capsule for 100 years. And when Dr. Kane, who was an archaeologist, uncovered him out of rubble and looked at him, he said, this is far beyond any technology that we have ever seen 100 years later, which shows that Dr. Light was 100 years more advanced than any other scientist at that time and now. And he did not think about the repercussions of someone being that smart and having no way to check themselves, and someone being almost as smart and being able to turn what he did into something that is devastating the man. He was a scientist that didn't understand that he had limitations that he should have followed. So that is why he's the number one villain. And I expect a lot of debate about that, but that's just my personal opinion. What do you think? Are you gonna cry that I made fun of Dad? Okay. Robots can't hurt humans. So the second to last thing is, what have I learned from playing Mega Man? Because I think that anything can be educational, including playing video games. And I've learned two lessons from Mega Man. The first one is, if someone says something is free and it's okay with your parents, take it. I'm going to go into that. 12, 13 years old, I've got a Super Nintendo. Back at that time, you could rent Super Nintendo games for $1. And I loved that, because every weekend, we would go to the rental store, I would pick out a rental game, and I'd play it for $1. And it was great, because they were closed on Sundays. So we had to bring it back Monday mornings. So I owned Mega Man X, and then I rented Mega Man X2 and loved it. And all of a sudden, we're fishing through the games, and I go past like all these other games, and I go inside and I see a Mega Man game, and I go, oh, another Mega Man game. All right, I'll rent this one. So I go and I bring it home, and I'm playing it, and I'm enjoying it. This is great, this is wonderful. And I go back the next day, and the manager's there, and he knew me. I was there every weekend. He said, you like that game, don't you? And I go, yeah, it's great. He says, no one else has ever rented it. Really? Yeah, you're the first one that's ever rented, and we've had it for 6 months. Oh, okay. Take it. What? My mom and dad are over there. My face is red, I'm going, I know him, but he's still a stranger and he's offering me something. Which is a good thing, it's a good thing. But I looked at my parents and they're smiling at me, and I'm going, all right. I got scared. I don't know why. I'm a kid. I said, no, that's okay. I don't want it. You sure? No. Thank you. It's like, I'm serious. You can have it. No. Thank you. I ran out of there and I went home. That game was Mega Man X3. That game would be $200 in my pocket right now. For free. Just because I was a kid that had a good goofy smile with a buck tooth. So fast forward to about 4 years ago. I'm running a business out of my house. I'm selling video games for a living, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But now I have a daughter, and we need health insurance, so I had to grow up a little bit. I'm still doing it, but it's not my full-time job now. It's my part-time job. Well, about 4 years ago, this guy calls me and says, "Hey, I got a couple things. Do you want to come and buy them?" I go, "Yeah, I'll come and buy them." So he shows me all these cool things, and he says, "Yeah, I want X amount for it." And I said, "Okay, that's great." He goes, "I got a box of old computer games. You want them?" I said, "Well, how much do you want for them?" He goes, "No, just take them." Now, what was the lesson I taught you? Someone says it's free. Now I'm an adult. I don't have to check with my parents now. But if I wasn't an adult, I would check with my parents. But I said, "All right, I will take this box of games." Now I looked through, and most of them are outdated and, are for systems that people aren't collecting, and all of a sudden. But then I come across a PlayStation game, a couple PlayStation games, and I go, "Oh, Spyro. Oh, that's a $15. Oh, see, perk up right there. Spyro fan." But that's like a $15 game. All right, great. And then all of a sudden there's Crash Bandicoot. I'm like, all right. Okay, so there's $30 free. Oh, I'm going to make you really jump in a minute. Then I came across a game I'd never heard before. And I said, I don't know what this is. Well, all right, well, let's see how much it's worth. My eyes bugged out of my head when I looked it up. And I said, this is wrong. There's no way this game is worth that much. I'm going to sell it for half that. Not the worst mistake ever, but close. But I go, all right, okay. I put it out there. It did not last more than 2 minutes. It was gone. That game. Was The Misadventures of Trombone. It was complete too. It had the book. It was in mint condition. It had a great disc. No scratches. I put it in and said, what the heck is this? It looks like Mega Man, but it's not. That game's worth $250. I sold it for $90. So I made the mistake there, but hey, it's a free $90. I really can't be that upset. But I was just like, nah, it can't be worth that much. Shows what I know. Okay, so lesson number 2 from what I learned from Mega Man. Be true to who you are. Be true to who you are. Because there can be repercussions that you will learn about later on in life when you get to be an old fart like me. I have a friend, and his name is Jeff Popwell. He knows I'm talking about him today. I actually called him and asked him if I could tell him this story. I'm in the 4th grade. Mega Man 3 had just come out. Loved it. Jeff Popwell owned it. And he lived 3 houses down from me. And I'm outside, and we've never really talked up until this point, but then all of a sudden I'm just like, yeah, my parents are going to take me out to get the Mega Man game in a month or 2. He goes, well, I own it. He says, do you want to come and play it with me? Yes, I do. So I went over to his house, and that started a friendship and a bond that lasted for probably 2 months while we just kept playing the game. And it centered around 3 things: drawing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, playing Mega Man 3, and drinking sugared grape Kool-Aid with extra sugar. Those were the 3 combos. Those were the things that stuck with us. But I was also, and you wouldn't know it if you met me now, but I was captain of the basketball team. I was nominated to prom court every year. I was one of those guys. So in my 4th grade mind, me playing video games was something that I did on the side. It wasn't who I was. It was just a hobby. And so when Jeff Popwell would try to talk to me in school sometimes, if other people were around, because he was different, I would walk away. And he never said anything to me about this. Never once did. But then came this fateful day, playing kickball outside with all the popular kids. And 2 kids who were popular, and I can't even remember their names, but they came up to me. And they had set something up, and they said, hey James, we heard you're playing Mega Man 3 with Jeff Popwell. And I looked right at him, and my eyes were bugging out of my head. I go, oh no, I don't do that. Like, you don't play with Jeff Popwell? No. Well, Jeff Popwell says you guys play Mega Man 3. Oh, well, I just play it over there because I don't own it yet, blah, blah, blah. Saying all the wrong things. All the wrong things. And it's something I should be ashamed of, and I mean, I am to this day. And I turn around, there's Jeff Popwell standing right behind me. He just asked me, he goes, is this true? And I go, no. And I just walked away. Because even then I was like, well, there's nothing really I can say to repair this. So fast forward to Halloween. There's a big Halloween parade that happens every year in my school. You know, just like every other elementary school. And I wanted to be a Mega Man character. And I decided that I was going to be Needle Man. Very ambitious, but I could pull it off. And I knew I could. So I grabbed one of my dad's large blue sweatshirts. At first I used coat hangers for the needles, and then my mom said the school might have a problem with that. So then it turned into, like, Constructs. If everyone remembers those, it's kind of like Legos, but it's Constructs. And I'm going, alright, I guess I got that. And then I, took 2 pieces of the lined paper, because we didn't have cardboard or post, and I made 2 eyes and put them right here, right on my chest, and I filled it with paper bags. So, like, when I walked around, all I heard was crunch, 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 crunch. Hey, what's up, crunch, crunch. This is what I thought I looked like. Right there, that's what I thought I looked like. This is what I looked like. I looked like a blueberry with eyes. I get to school, I'm all excited, everyone's looking at me going, okay, you're blue. They had no idea what I was. The teachers were looking at us and they go, is he the Fruit of the Looms guy? Like, and so now they're like really thinking this out and they go, does he have a thing for underwear at 4th grade? He goes to the back of the line. So obviously no one recognizes me, no one's saying anything to me. I'm kind of getting down on myself, but we're heading back to class. As we're heading back to class, out of nowhere jumps Jeff Popwell in his Mega Man costume that no one recognized him in because he looks like a blueberry. And he goes, Needle Man, my arch nemesis. And we started going at it and playing pretend. And it was his way of saying, I got it, and you're still my friend. But he didn't have to do that. And you want to know what? It showed he was a bigger man than I. At 4th grade, he was a bigger man than I. And so I called him about a year ago, right after I knew I was going to be telling the story, and I said, hey Jeff, it's James McKay, and he goes, oh hey man, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, it's going well. And I got a wife, I got a kid, gotta get milk. How are you doing? He goes, I'm doing well. And he goes, like, I got a long-term girlfriend, we're living together now, things are good. I'm like, okay. So I just wanted to apologize. For what? I didn't treat you that well in elementary school. He says, well, no one did. But at least you hung out with me. And I said, that's no excuse. And I'm really sorry. And there was a silence. It's about 20 seconds later, I hear him sniffling. I said, I've been waiting for that for a while. He goes, not just from you, but from other people too. Thank you, you made my day. We've talked a couple times since then, and it didn't redeem me for what I did back then, but what it did was it allowed me to get back in touch with the friendship I had. So if you like something and other people tell you it's wrong, but you got a friend that says, oh, it's right, embrace it, enjoy it. Be true to your friends who like you. And that's the other message I would like to leave you with. And then the future of Mega Man. Where's Mega Man going? Mega Man Legends 3! Woo! Canceled. Woo! Canceled. Keiji Inafune was working on Mega Man Legends 3, and it got scrapped. And so we'll never know what it was because Capcom owns the rights to it. Who knows if it'll ever see the light of day, but even if it does, Inafune will not be a part of it. So let's move on to the next one. Mega Man Next Gen Console, Xbox 360 and PS3, Mega Man Universe, yeah! Cancelled. Doesn't exist anymore. So canceled. Like totally canceled. Never gonna see the light of day. Capcom, for some reason, lost their taste for Mega Man, and I can understand it, because that's the problem. It's not their top 50, but in our hearts it's very high. But the problem is you're right, Capcom can't invest in a game that they're not selling a ton of. And I understand it. You know, and the thing is like, after a while, how do you make a game that's fresh with perfect physics when you've tried everything physically that you can? You kind of have to change the character, or you have to do something along those lines. So Keiji Inafune has left Capcom. That means that there's no more Mega Man, kind of, because here's what's coming out in February. Oh, come on, where is it? There it is. The Mighty Number 9. If I've ever seen a new Mega Man game coming out, this is the one. It's by a guy, the main character is Beck, and yes, there is another character called Call, so Beck and Call. And the game is transforming a 2D platform with 3D tendencies. So what they're doing is they're modernizing what made Mega Man great and putting it into a new character, which causes a new storyline, which causes us to try the physics in a different way, and also how to enhance the character in different ways. So this is on like my to-do list in February, because Retro Game Con is done and I don't have any more responsibilities other than job, wife, daughter, part-time job, school. I'm in school too. But I got time for this, right? So this is what I'm going to be doing in February. And with that, guys, I want to thank you all for coming to my Mega Man panel. I hope you had a good time. Go enjoy the rest of the con. Have a good day.